Hello, hello, and welcome. We are today talking about receiving, and our topic for the day is receiving beyond limitations and what else can we receive? And it's really one of the tools of access that invites people to receive more, and what is it that stops us from receiving? So this is a great topic. Lucy chose this topic, receiving beyond limitations. And one of the things that I would just like to talk about today in terms of limitations is how often do we identify something as a limitation and therefore are not able to receive the gift of it. And I've got quite a few examples that I can give on that. But one person's limitation is another person's talent and ability. And I was just talking about this topic I'm in the middle of a 7 steps class, explosion class. And I was just talking about this topic with the class participants. And I would love to share some of the feedback they gave you from this really perspective of the 7 steps, which is about how often we use limitations as a sort of veil, as a sort of mask. Okay, well, I have problems seeing, so that's a limitation, and therefore I cannot receive things since I don't see well. Or I'm in a wheelchair and I have a limitation that I cannot walk. So therefore, I cannot receive things that people who can walk do receive. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee today, and my host is a Access Consciousness certified facilitator. And she was in Mumbai, India, during a terrorist attack. And she actually got shot 3 times and was in a wheelchair also. A year later, she was running a marathon. So how do I get chills when I say, when I say that? And she's so potent, and she's a singer here in Nashville, and she's a certified facilitator of Access Consciousness. So what have we decided is a limitation that will stop us from achieving our greatness and expressing our greatness and being our greatness? What have we decided is a limitation that will stop us from being and receiving our greatness, right? And that's a question. And it brings up a lot of energy because every person has something that they have decided is a weakness or a limitation in them. And what we do with Access, and most of the people listening probably know that, but we ask a question, and then when all that energy comes up, it's basically the responses to that question. What have we decided is a limitation that will prevent us from achieving and receiving our greatness? And it's different for everyone. And so what we do with the clearing statement of access, everything that is, all that energy that comes up, even if I cannot identify it and cognitively articulate it, I now destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 short boys and beyonds. And destroy and uncreate it means I throw it out, just get rid of it. I'm not trying to fix it, right? That's what I've decided. And I'm no longer uncreate. I am no longer willing to give my creative energy in making what I've decided as a limitation so special. You know, I was diagnosed years ago with this genetic eye disease. And if I go into the explanation of it, the medical name of it, the street name of it, like what we call it in common speech, and how it shows up in my life and what kind of limitation it causes for me, then I'm actually using energy, right? Time, right? And conversation to justify what I have defined as a limitation, right? So, what have you decided and defined as a limitation in your life, right? That you're using a lot of creative energy to explain to people and also to make it like really special, right? A lot of times people do that, that it's like, I have a money problem. Um, and you say, oh, well, I know people who have money problems. Yes, but my money problem's different. My money problem is special because it's really, and then you go into your explanation because dot, 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 right? So all the reasons and justifications and the creative energy we are using to define our limitation and make it really special. Can we destroy and then create all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short boys and beyonds. One of the things that this topic brought up for me is I don't know if you ever saw the old films on Superman, right? Christopher Reeves, really cute actor. And he, Clark Kent, Superman, and he was riding a horse, fell off, and lost his ability to walk. And that could have been such a limitation. He could have just crumbled immediately and fallen. But the fact that he was willing to be so visible in public, still very cute, right? Um, was such a contribution to other people who may not have had the capacity to walk, or may not have had another capacity, but they look at him and they say, "Wow, look at that! Someone who was so busy, not only walking but flying, like Superman does, right? That is traveling around the world, encouraging people to be and receive their greatness, right? So, how can we receive beyond limitations, beyond what we've decided is a limitation? If it's physical, right? Um, if it is monetary, money, right? One of the things that immediately pops for me, if you've decided that money is a limitation, right? Because probably most of you have way too much money, and the limitation with the money is you don't know what to do with it all. But if you happen to be, someone who doesn't have the amount of money that you'd like to have, how can you actually use that to your advantage? One of the things that comes up for me when I think of that is if you're not able to buy and spend money everywhere and all the time, do you have to then engage your creativity, right? To figure out, let's say, how you're going to do what you'd like to do, even if you don't have the money to do it. Come up with something creative, you know? I remember when I first started with Access, I didn't have the money to attend all of the classes, but I did have a couple of talents and abilities that I offered in exchange for a percentage off the classes. I speak English, which you can hear, but I also speak French. I also speak Italian. I was speaking better Spanish at the time, and I speak some Spanish. So, how can I utilize my other talents and abilities to receive from what I've considered or decided was a limitation, right? So, what have you defined as a limitation that actually will allow you to engage your talents and abilities and create more? And everything that is everything that does not allow you to perceive, to know, to be, and receive that with clarity, will you destroy and uncreate it? Times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short boys and beyonds. Yeah. And how often do we require a limitation to stimulate our creativity? So everywhere we're actually creating limitations so that we have the motivation that we feel we need in order to be creative. Can we destroy and uncreate all that? Wow. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine short boys and beyonds. Let's see if I remember that one. Everywhere we are creating, inventing limitations, looking for limitations, so that we will have the motivation that we think we need in order to be the creative genius we are. Can we destroy and uncreate all that? Truth. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short boys and beyonds. Yeah. And if anyone has any questions, I don't know, Lucy, if you're taking questions, but do let me know. The other thing that I wanted to say, what we were talking about with the step 4 of the 7 steps, which of course we have in Hungarian and in Czech, because we've got brilliant people who translate, um, was this going beyond the veil, right? Going beyond the veil, the mask, the identification, the, you know, um, calling yourself, identifying yourself, defining yourself as somebody who has X or Y or Z limitation, right? How often do we do that? Do we identify ourselves as having a limitation or not receiving, right? So that we don't disappoint ourselves, so that we don't have to reach for higher goals, right? Or targets, as we say in Access, so that we've already limited, right, what we're willing to reach for, ask for, and receive, because we have identified already the ceiling, the maximum amount. So we hide behind the mask or the veil of someone who doesn't desire to receive more, doesn't require to receive more, right? Or is not able to receive more. So everything, everywhere we are assuming the position of somebody who's not interested in receiving more. Can we destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short boys and beyonds. Everywhere we have assumed the mask or the veil of somebody who doesn't really need to receive more, right? And therefore, we already have justified our limited reality. Can we destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short boys and beyonds. What if you were willing to have way too much? Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, with money, he says, are you willing to have more money than you could ever spend and never enough? Which is sort of like a dichotomy, right? Yeah. Are you willing to have more and never enough? Yeah. Because when you are willing to continually ask for more, for greater, right? It doesn't mean that you're not satisfied with what you have or happy or grateful for what you have, right? It is actually, I'm very grateful for what I have. I'm very grateful for who I am and what I am. And I'm always willing to receive more. So everything that doesn't allow us to be that. Hungry, not starving to death, but hungry and desirous for more, receiving, perceiving, knowing, and being while we're at it. Can we destroy it and create all that? Yeah. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short boys and beyonds. Yeah. And what if, right, our willingness to be the vulnerability that says, you know what, in these 10 seconds, I may not be able to make more money, walk, see well, stop judging myself. I may not be able to do that in these 10 seconds, but I'll never give in, never give up, and never quit asking for more. And when you're in that position, you're willing to receive. When you're functioning from that space, you are saying to the universe, I am willing to receive, and I'm willing for this to change at any moment. Right? It creates a space. You're functioning from a space of question, and that is the beauty. It's amazing with these amazing tools of access. You're functioning from the space of question. What else is possible that I have never even imagined? And everything that does not allow me to perceive, no, be and receive that, I now destroy and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short boys and beyonds. I'm so excited about this foundation class that I just facilitated one in New York City, first time ever. And I had Grace Douglas, Gary Douglas's daughter, come on one of the days of the foundation. It was really cool. So what am I now stepping into, being willing and able to receive, that allows that to show up, you know? And I'm going to start a 3-day body class tomorrow in Nashville, Tennessee. First time in a few years I've done the body class in the United States. And what can that create? And next month I'll be doing the foundation and a body class in the Czech Republic. And this topic that Lucy and Adriana, the hosts of the class, have chosen really speaks to these core classes of access, because it's in the foundation and in the body class. We are being that question, right? What would it take for me and my body to receive beyond the limitations I've decided are real and true, that actually are just a point of view? It's funny, in English that actually rhymes. What would it take? What energy, space, and consciousness can I be that would allow me to perceive, know, be, and receive beyond what I've considered a limitation, right? It's actually only a point of view.
Kass, can I have a question?
Yeah.
We have a question.
Do you like our conversation?
Yes, I am so happy I can hear you. There is a question in the chat. A lady asks, what is she supposed to do when her body does not receive certain food, a kind of food that she cannot receive? She cannot eat a certain kind of food. Could you say something to that?
Sure. She's translating that. Okay, cool. So what if it wasn't about what you're supposed to do? Right? Because the thing I love about bodies, and the thing I love about facilitating the body classes, is inviting people to enter into a dialogue with their body. And dialogue is a two-way street, right? It's listening and asking questions and receiving information, right? When we talk about what we're supposed to do, that's really about feeling like your body is giving you an order. Your body never gives you orders, right? You give your body orders, right? Demands. And the invitation that I love to extend to people is to open up to receiving information from your body. Now, I've got about 100 responses, right, to your question. And this is the one that's popping. I know Jana will love this. She's translating, right? Once in a class, once in a class, someone asks something about an intolerance that their body has or a reaction that their body has to certain foods. And what came up for me, and I mean, it was an advanced body class, and Gary was like, really loved my awareness here. So let me share it with you. How much is your body aware of concerning that particular element that it is not desiring to ingest? Okay, there's so much going on with the way we prepare food, the way we grow food, the way we treat animals on this planet. So, truth, is it about the food itself, or is it about the way that food is being produced and the lack of honoring and respect that the production of that food is to the planet? Okay. So that's the long answer. That's a question. And there's a lot of space going on here. So everything that doesn't allow us to perceive, know, and receive that information from our bodies and be grateful, and we destroy and uncreate all that, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short boys and beyonds. That's the long answer. The quick answer is connect to the earth. Connect to the earth. Receive from the earth and ask the earth. Truth, is this about a limitation or is this about an awareness? Okay, so it might be an awareness of something that extends way beyond you and your physical body, that includes an awareness about the earth. It may be the way that food is often prepared. Okay, I just an example, I love water. I really love drinking water. My body loves drinking water. And a lot of times, water systems in different cities are contaminated, and so your body, it has to process an overdose of calcium, right? The water systems may have been infected, right? So you're aware of that, and then you buy bottled water, right? And then you have lots and lots of bottled water. So you've got lots of plastic, right? And that's not necessarily a contribution to the earth, all that plastic. Um, but in addition to it not being a contribution to the earth, right? It's also bottled water, not a contribution to your body sometimes, because when that plastic gets heated, right? There is a lead that is released from the plastic into the water, right? So that your body has to process that, right? So what are you supposed to do, or what can you choose? Maybe a water filter system. But the more you're willing to expand your zone of awareness and not go into the conclusion that my body doesn't like this, the more you're willing to expand your awareness, and you can do that by simply asking questions, the more information you will receive, whether it's cognitive or not. Now, this might be a little bit, uh, a lot of information for a quick Zoom, but please know that what you've considered as a limitation for you and your body may actually be a talent and ability that you and your body have, right? To recognize what is being a contribution to not only you and your body, but also to the planet. Yeah. Okay, good. Phew. Lucy said it was okay. Was it? Yeah. So, what energy, what space, what consciousness, and what choice can we perceive, know, be, and receive, right? From what we have decided is a limitation that would change it into a possibility. And everything that does not allow us, that can we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short, boys and beyonds. There's a lovely verbal process with access, and it's like knocking on the door, and that is what jails, judgments, agendas, inventions, and lies. What jails are we using to create the dominance of E equals MC square for the creation of limitations are we choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, will we destroy and create it now? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short, boys and beyonds. And what jails are we using to create the dominance of E equals MC square that does not allow us to receive beyond limitations are we choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine short, boys and beyonds. Yeah, cool. There is an amazing telecall series, and I believe some people from the Czech Republic and certainly from Hungary are on it with Dr. Dane here. That's going to be starting in about 2 minutes. And it's called Be Different and Stay Weird. So are you willing to be different and look at what you've defined as a limitation from all different sides and ask, what is the contribution here that I'm unwilling to perceive and receive? And everything that is times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, box, short, boys and beyonds. If I were willing to be the difference that I am, if I were willing to receive the weirdo that I am, how could I look at this in a different way? That's that Dr. Dane. All right. Yes. Cool. All right. Any other questions? Cool. Okay. Well, we're going to have some fun. And we're also doing a Dancing with Riches, talk about using limitations, what you've considered a limitation to your advantage. We're going to do play with a lot of things. I'm sure that one of our lovely hosts will put that in the chat for you. And thank you so much for joining. And thank you so much for this exciting topic, because it's really changed my life today.
Thank you, Kass, for being here with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And maybe we'll do another one. I'm around. Okay.
That would be lovely.
Thank you. Thank you, Kusanam.
Let's find a new topic.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kass. You are amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Looking so much forward to seeing you, ladies.
Me too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Nicolette.